welcome everybody to Sunday Messages. It's a pleasure and an honor to have you all with us here this day, both in our Facebook audience and via Zoom online. We're going to open with a Christmas poem from Daryl Scarrett, aka The Windwalker. And he writes a poem every year and shares it with but a few special people. It's called Christmas Memories Amongst the Stars. She never ever had a winter coat, but despite the cold, I never heard her complain. I knew she often saved some of her welfare money because Christmas would soon be here again. In the colder weather, my mom wore three sweaters so we could see the pretty lights and the trees. And later, we went to the mall to warm up, and I could give Santa a hug and sit on his knee. On Christmas Eve, my mom cooked the turkey and the food from the hamper left at our door. As a child, these were the memories, good or bad, that I would be thankful for. The snow began to fall as I hung a winter coat on a Christmas tree and then knelt on my knee. Merry Christmas, Mom. I can see you amongst the stars. I'm sending warm thoughts and love from me. Life is fragile. Memories are forever. Daryl Windwalker Scarrett. We're going to get underway in a moment as well to our main topic. We're going to pause for a meditative moment, meditative prayer. So I'm going to ask all of you who are in attendance, either virtually or literally, to sit comfortably with your back straight, your feet planted firmly on the ground, gently closing your eyes, peering in upon your brow or third eye area. I invite you all to take a great deep breath in, releasing with a sound. We gather here tonight or this day in quiet contemplation, gently focusing in upon our breath, on the gentle rhythmic swaying of our breath, an inhalation and then an exhalation followed by an inhalation once again. The cycle, the circle is never ending, never broken. As we continue to breathe and immerse ourselves in the beauty and peace, the gentleness of our breath, we feel our bodies beginning to relax from the very top of our head down the length of our bodies to the soles of our feet. We become aware now of our heartbeat, the gentle rhythm which we follow and which follows us. Slowly but surely, we begin to see a light at the very center and nucleus of our being. And this light is warm and it's bright. And it begins to extend beyond our physical body, to the left of us, to the right of us, before us, and behind us, out the top of our head, and down through the soles of our feet, ad infinitum. And this light that surrounds us comforts us, brings peace, joy, harmony, higher intelligence, wisdom, and creativity, assurance. Every breath we take now fans the eternal flame. and enhances this feeling of warmth and peace, comfort and joy. In a moment, we will begin to slowly open our eyes once again, coming back to the exterior reality. So slowly, very gently now, we begin to open our eyes and our senses, taking a great deep breath in once again, releasing with a sound. Again, I would like to thank you all for joining us this day. Our topic, probably very apropos for the time of the year, is getting discouraged. And if you follow along on the sheets that I sent out to you a short while ago. If you have not received it, just direct message me and I'll get one to you after. It's only human is what's written first. We have feelings and expectations. Having a human experience, being in our physical bodies and doing whatever it is we think we need to do from day to day. We set, and rightfully so as human beings, we set expectations of ourselves and probably of other folks as well. And when we don't meet our own expectations, or perhaps whatever we've imposed on others, those other people don't meet our expectations, we go into judgment. We go into judgment of ourselves. We get into judgment of other folks as well. In the words of Dr. Phil, I'd like to say, and how's that working for you? So it's our own human mind, our own human expectations of ourselves and others that tends to kind of get us a little bit down, aggravated, agitated, or discouraged, especially when we begin to judge that the goals we have set for ourselves, perhaps society has set them for us, we think we're not meeting them. But that's really ourselves judging ourselves, our human mind, not our infinite mind doing that. And so it is easy for us to judge ourselves while we're judging others as well. Acknowledge your feelings. I'm okay, you're okay is the name of a famous book, a pop psychology book, but it's very, very relevant and based on a lot of real practical things as well. But really, the idea is whatever it is you're feeling this time of the year or any time of the year, whether it's joy, whether it's sadness, despair, whether it's a loss we've had, or perhaps we're feeling sad for someone else who has had a loss, it's all right to acknowledge our own feelings. It's all right to say, hey, I'm not feeling very good this day. I'm not feeling very happy this day. And let me pose this question, this challenge for myself and for all of you out there. If anyone has lost a loved one, either through divorce, separation, death, how apropos is it for us to judge them and say, well, you have my sympathies. I'm so sorry your marriage didn't work out. Oftentimes in the past, I've said that to others. I've said, for example, I'm so sorry to hear about your divorce. This was in a social setting and quite discreetly, I hope I've said that. And they would often say, and I have to say about 6 times out of 10, these folks would say, no, I'm actually happy that I'm not married to so and so, or I'm not with this person. So we're actually judging, we're actually projecting if this happened to us, how we would feel. And I recognize we're trying to be empathetic, we're trying to be sympathetic. It's very nice to offer our sympathies to somebody. But sometimes I'll say, now I've learned to say, to ask them rather than to voice my sympathies. And this might sound odd, but let's say so and so has gotten a divorce or has lost a loved one. I'll often say, "So, how are you feeling?" Rather than, "Oh, I'm so sorry to hear about this," or whatever. I give them a chance to reflect back to me how they're feeling, and then I can pinpoint exactly how to answer or how to chat with them, or if apropos, if appropriate, to comfort them. So it's all right to acknowledge one's feelings, to recognize, well, I'm not feeling very good this day, and to not judge yourself. Why should we judge ourselves? What a waste of time. Can we do our best if we're judging ourselves, if we're saying, and this is true of many overachievers as well, who regardless tend to achieve whether they're putting themselves down or not. Stop and acknowledge and look back at what you have accomplished. Some people will never ever accomplish a fraction of what you've accomplished, and yet you've done it. Don't be so hard on yourself. What's the point? It only creates obstacles as well, which leads us to what is success and what is failure. It's all relative. And when we judge others, when we look at that person on the street, laying on the street, or if we see them sleeping or drinking or indulging in illicit drugs, and we kind of walk by and kind of shake our heads, just because that's not an action or a lifestyle we would take on, who are we to judge them? Who are we to say, "Oh, that poor person," or "that person should get a job," blah, 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 blah. It, it's, it's a waste of our energy. It does us no good. And for all we know, that street person may choose to live on the streets. A very close friend of mine who grew up on the streets told me so many what we refer to as street people, which sounds very judgmental probably in itself. They choose to be on the streets. It's not so much that, well, they've fallen on hard times, which is often the case, or perhaps mental illness, which sounds judgmental as well, or perhaps substance abuse has brought them to the streets. I'm not talking about those. I'm talking about the ones who do have choices. And many of us think, well, they don't have choices. Look at them, they're on the streets. Some of those people on the street would rather be on the street than have social housing. Not all of them, but many of them do and have. So who are we to judge? We're only responsible for ourselves. When we judge others, that does us no good. It only makes us feel judgmental about ourselves. It's a waste of our energy and it does not build us up. Perhaps in a future lecture, I'll speak about building ourselves up. We want to build ourselves up and be the best we can, not just for ourselves and our loved ones, but for everybody. If we weren't fit physically, emotionally, and spiritually, how can we give? We want to be able to give the best that we can on all levels. So fueling our bodies, that's another topic altogether, on all levels, is crucial. But sometimes emotionally, we tend to deplete our energies, our self-esteem, etc. So success or failure, that's all relative. Acknowledge the successes you've already had. We've just spoken about that. Are you alive? Are you breathing? That's more than a beginning. That's with our breath, with our sight, our hearing. Some of us don't have such great hearing, but nonetheless, we do what we can with what we've got. And that's really what counts, is fueling that energy that we've been given and doing the best we can with it for others. What if I never had success? Again, that's really subjective. It's not for us to judge, well, I never became president or I never signed a record deal. Again, we're judging ourselves. We're making our own standards, and sometimes those standards are unrealistic. I'm not going to say they're too high, but they're unrealistic. Do we have connections in the music world? If we were meant to succeed in one direction or another, all we're responsible for is doing our best. And if we know we've done our best, it sounds very facile what I'm saying, but if we've done our best on all levels, if we put as much of our energy into it without completely depleting ourselves, then we're successful. No matter whether we've reached this rung or that rung or whatever. Again, perhaps it's society, perhaps it's ourself who judges, who places limitations on ourselves. We don't need to do that. We need to bring ourselves up so we can give. Making it stick, approaching and healing core subconscious issues. That sounds very deep. But as a clinical hypnotherapist and a teacher, if you will, of metaphysics, I find that is so crucial. Before we can, in a healthy level, on a on a way that is not judging ourselves, before we can do that, we must learn to heal and how to heal emotional issues, core issues, if you will. And those lay in our subconscious mind. And there are so many tools for that. One can seek help through psychiatry, psychology. One can do alternative methods, such as meditation, such as mind treatments, as I call them. Whatever it takes to clean up the mental bin, the garbage bin, if you will, of your mind, and to free yourself of any restrictions by doing so is highly recommended. Because before we can go any further in life, before we can achieve anything and everything that's potentially possible, realistically, we must clean up our own issues. And it could be as simple as taking the breath, closing our eyes for 10 minutes a day. It could be as simple as meditation through walking. It could be as simple as seeking professional help. The point is to clean up the mental or the trash bin of our mind, if you will, before we can truly make strides ahead. Our own metaphysical tools, our own spiritual tools that I've used to great success, the thousands of clients over 20, 25, my goodness, it must be close to 30 years by now, are these, they may feel and sound familiar to you, but when you're actually immersed in learning them, they're not at all what you might think they are. Meditation or mystical meditation. And you got a sample, a feel of that earlier, a very, very short meditation. Mystical meditation is what I did. Self-hypnosis or hypnotherapy, great for reaching obstacles in our subconscious mind and healing them by facing them. The mind treatments are something I evolved from a number of tools in my belt, and I've found them to be very, very useful. And my goal with my clients was never to make money from them. Sure, we all need money to live, but with certain forms of therapy, one can go 20, 30 years and shell out a lot of money. So over about 20 years, 25 years or so, I realized, well, hypnotherapy, in many cases, meditation, in many cases, and this is referred to as NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, substituting a negative feeling or a negative happenstance in our subconscious mind for a positive one and anchoring it, making it stick, provides results within an hour, more or less. So a person does not have to seek out help and therapy for 20 years or more. So my goal was always to save people money with the most practical and effective tools. So those are always there for people. A person doesn't have to spend money and see anybody. They can read a lot of self-help books, many of which are valuable. many of which are not. Your higher self hopefully will guide you to that. And we can always discuss anything offline, if you will, not right now. If you have any questions or concerns, you can always direct message me or contact me through social media if you're curious. Gratitude is another amazing tool. And I found that when I'm doing the poor me thing, and I hope it's not just me, but I believe that many people do the poor me thing. They're just not feeling happy, or they're going, oh, poor me, if only I had more money, or if I had this or that, then I'd be happy. Well, why not be happy now? So I find gratitude, another term is counting our blessings, assessing, if you will, whatever we've accomplished and whatever we have, and realizing, wow, we've come a long way. We sure have. And so many people do not have that. That's the time to send out prayers, affirmative thoughts to these people and being grateful for everything we do have. That's a great shortcut to just stop and be in the moment. In Buddhism, nowism is a truism, if you will, and being in the present, not in the past, not in the future, because we're always robbing ourselves of something if we're not in the present moment. If we get into the present moment, we realize we have everything. Keeping this in mind, we're going to do our last meditation. So I'm going to ask that all of you sit comfortably with your back straight and your feet either planted firmly on the ground or your ankles crossed. Gently closing our eyes, we gaze in upon our brow or third eye area. We take the sacred breath in, releasing with a sound. I turn away now from the exterior world that surrounds me to enter into a higher place, a place of peace, calm, joy, happiness, accomplishments, creativity. And as I become aware of every breath, every inhalation and exhalation, I begin to go deeper, even deeper still, into this world of peace, a peace that passeth all understanding, a joy like a light, a warmth like the fire in a hearth. Every breath we take now makes us aware that every single one of the trillions of cells of our body become lit up with an infinite light, an infinite warmth, an infinite joy. And this light extends beyond our physical body, out through our pores, out through the top of our head and the soles of our feet ad infinitum. With every breath we take, we have a sense of freedom, a sense of happiness and joy. Nothing and no one will stop us. Indeed, they will be touched on some level or another by our love. They will be touched on some level or another by who and what we truly are. As we become aware of our breathing even more so, we begin to cement, to make permanent these feelings of joy, happiness, peace, infinite love, unconditional love and understanding. So that in a few moments when we begin to open our eyes, we will retain that feeling of peace, of harmony, of joy, of greater understanding of ourselves, and unconditional love for ourselves and others. I affirm that it is so. Peace, love, joy, harmony for ourselves and others It is so now and unto forevermore. We take the deep breath in, release it with a sound. We slowly but surely begin to open our hearts, our eyes, our mind to the physical illusionary world around us. And we still retain that feeling of joy, of peace, of harmony, that all is well. I want to thank all of you for joining us this day for our Sunday message. We intend to bring these to you every week, every Sunday at the same time. Ask for our resources. Many of them are free. I'm Reverend Dr. Michael Likey, and I'm so grateful and thankful that you joined me here today.